this is Enchant3dKid, and this is Enchant3dKid Presents Color. So today I got the privilege to interview and play a game with Color. And why don't we get into the interview? Hey, Color.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good.
I'm going to ask you a few questions you get to answer, and we get to talk about Lorcana.
That is my favorite thing to do, so yeah. All right, I'm ready.
Have you played any other TCGs besides Lorcana?
I have played Commander kind of like casually the year leading up to Lorcana. Yeah, I'd always had like just like friends that have always played TCGs and kind of tried to get me into them and everything. And then there was like a Dungeons and Dragons set that came out, and I was pretty excited about that. It was like the Baldur's Gate one. My friend tricked me into playing Magic finally. But yeah, other than that, like other than like casually kind of playing Lorcana, like I don't even play. Casually playing Commander every once in a while. That's kind of about it as far as that goes. And then yeah, ever since Lorcana came out, I haven't really even played Commander. So
yeah, Lorcana takes up quite a bit of time if you want to be more in the competitive side of it a little bit.
yeah, I definitely like the 1v1 format. I like kind of more competitive. Commander doesn't really like, I mean, there is like CEDH, but that wasn't my favorite thing. So then I I really like Lorcana. I like the competitive aspect of it. I like the tournaments and everything. The community is more my speed than the other. So
So set 7 came out a few weeks ago now. How are you liking the dual inks and every kind of contrast in the story with it?
I think the story is really cool. I loved like the little lore cards that they included in the actual packs. I think that was such a really good idea. I love that there was like different puzzle artworks and everything, and then there was even a flip book. I feel like as far as like the lore and the story and everything that they did, especially with like the individual packs, I think they just like knocked it out of the park this time. Like the fact that you could just open a bunch of packs and sit there and literally read through like what was intended for the story and the way they set it up. I'm actually really, really excited as far as like the lore goes. Set 7, what was the question? Sorry, I got really excited.
It's okay. What are you thinking about the dual inks and all the cards that we have gotten?
I kind of haven't really gotten a chance to play with any of the dual links personally. I think maybe Cobra is the one that I've seen the most, and that card is bananas. I like the idea of it. It's kind of like the locations. When they came out, we didn't really know what to do with them at first, and then after a while we kind of were like, oh wait a minute, like this one's really like Castle's really good and this card's really good, and this has a home here. And I think maybe with the dual links, I hope they keep it up. That would be nice, because I think that like if a card is going to be restricted to like the one deck, it would make sense that it would be a very powerful card, because you can't just like put it in every single Amber deck. It has to be in this specific deck. So I think I'd like to see a little bit more of it. I think the Sapphire cards are bananas and a little pushed, and we're experiencing a little bit of I think everybody's feeling it.
The Sapphire Ruby decks are then crazy and also have steel. It's just like, for once I thought we were out of it, and then it came back and I was like, it's okay. I played it last set. I get it. You guys want to go. I'm going to do something different, not meta, which is a little different for me. I don't need to play meta. I just do.
I will say it does kind of feel like that. You're in a position where you're like, oh, I want to do something fun. I want to like not play a meta deck, and then you bring that deck, and then you get absolutely smushed by the hyper competitive person that decided to try too hard. So I will say that is kind of like something that I'm finding a little upsetting in set 7 is like there's like a harder, like you need to be competitive, or you need to have like that rule 0 conversation where like, oh, this is more casual, you know what I mean? And it's like, or where's that like in between where like I don't want to have to try so hard and play this exact deck list, but like I also don't want to be super casual. Like I want to win, you know what I mean? Like, so
it's like you can make your deck to beat a certain deck, but then it's going to lose to another deck. And that's the great thing about Lorcana. There's not just one deck that can beat all of them. There's at least one deck that can weave its way through it. And then it's like a cycle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's like a good point. And another good thing about Lorcana is the meta is very fast. I mean, and I guess I don't have like a ton of experience in other TCGs, but it does feel really fast. Like from day to day, we're like, oh, you know, like, oh, this is a great card. We're gonna throw it in all of the Sapphire decks, and then Emerald goes absolutely not, and then they counter it with another card, and so it feels like the meta is very dynamic in Lorcana, and it. And kind of to your point earlier is like if you want to play competitively, you almost have to like that's what you do, you know, like a lot of your time is devoted to keeping up with like different tournaments and things and like card choices and tech things, and that doesn't leave a lot of time for other TCGs, but yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's definitely like a really fun thing to kind of consider, because now we have so many cards that it is really nice to like you can look at your deck and be like, okay, is this good? Like, can I throw this in here? You know, I have a friend who was playing like an in-house tournament, and he was beating us into the ground with this green steel deck. And after the tournament was over, he showed us his list, and it has like Gizmo Duck in it. And he was like 5-0 there for like a little bit, and to see Gizmo Duck in that list and know that you just got absolutely trounced by it was an experience. So I love being able to go back and like look at different cards that maybe like you kind of glanced over at first and being like, does this fit now? Like this week, does this card have a home in my deck? You know, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's crazy how the meta is just, it is fast. It's one day it could be Ruby Saph, the next day it's Emerald Steel. Like, you never know what it could switch to. It's unpredictable.
It really is. And then we had like Chernadogs in there in like top 8, I think, yesterday. So I think it was Ghosty that had his Lady in the Tramp Chernabog deck and just like up there with all the Sapphire decks. So I mean, and like to your point, yeah, like you like these decks are reign supreme, and then all of a sudden somebody figures out a way to counter it specifically, and if you dodge your bad matchups and hit all the decks that you intended to beat, then yeah, you're going to top the tournament and do really well. So it's a really cool yeah. Deck building is a very hard skill, but it is super fun in this game.
And the nice thing is with the Lorcana community, you could ask someone for help on the Lorcana community. Be like, I know what I want the basis of my deck to be, but I don't know the full thing of I want. Can I have help?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. There's, you know, I bug, I think, every single member of the Maelstrom team like daily. And I also like, what is it? Bug my team, my SLTC team. I'm like, can somebody build me an Oops All Baymax deck? Like, please? Like, I just need a deck with all Baymaxes in it. And they're like, it's going to be bad. And I'm like, but I need it. So that is my goal one day, is just to have just all Baymaxes in a deck. And it be viable. Maybe not tier 1, maybe like tier 3, but still. Like, that is my dream.
If you could have one movie in Lorcana that has not come to Lorcana yet, what would you have?
Nightmare Before Christmas. Absolutely. I want a Jack Skellington card. I want a Oogie Boogie card. I don't even know. Even just like the fountain from Halloween Town, have it be a location. I don't even care, but just put that aesthetic in this game and I'll be extremely happy. Honorable mention is Kingdom Hearts, but we all know that'll never happen. But
I think Zero would be a fun card.
it'd be so cute. He would be the best boy. Could go in an amber deck with all the other puppies. It'd be great. I guess like I heard that you went to Vegas, right? And did you go any other DLCs or was it just Vegas?
So I went to Chicago and Vegas. I did better in Chicago. Pretty sure I went 3-3-3.
Okay.
And then in Vegas, I went 2-3-4. Somewhere around that.
You played all like 9 rounds?
Yeah, I would play all 9 rounds.
You're like, I'm here to play Lorcana.
Yep. I came here for the experience.
Yeah, nice. It's definitely good. I mean, that's like, I felt like in Vegas, I think that was like my downfall is not having a ton of like long tournament experience. And I learned like quite a bit, like put snacks in your backpack and drink plenty of water, like these things that like, you know, I'd been like grinding and not actually thinking about my body. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I was like, I wanted to like prepare for the game, but then it's a long day. It's such a long day. Did you like feel that fatigue from it, or were you just like, is it nice being young? What's that like?
Yeah, I definitely in Chicago did not have enough snacks. I packed so fun fact about me, I'm a pescatarian. So I only eat fish for my meat source, if you didn't know what a pescatarian was.
Yeah. But it makes snacking a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, so I packed a tuna pouch and like another like fruit snacks. That's kind of all I had until round 7-ish.
And
yeah, I definitely needed to pack more.
Yeah, did you at least have breakfast that day?
I did have breakfast. I did have a good breakfast.
That's good. Yeah, that was a mistake. I think I also made that mistake in Vegas as well. I did not make that mistake in Seattle. I was almost late to the player meeting because I was sprinting back from Starbucks because I was not. So that's actually, yeah, one of the things that I feel like as like a new player in tournaments, like I just didn't think about, you know, eating.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, when's lunch? And they like laughed at me and I'm like, why are you laughing? I need food. So yeah, I mean, do you guys plan to go to any more of these mythical DLCs if they ever announce them?
Yes, I definitely want to go to another DLC and probably will go to another DLC when they release and talk about them. The fun story about Vegas. So I was dressed up as I cosplayed as Cinderella.
Okay.
And it was so hot in that dress.
So hot in Vegas in the shade. It was like 100 degrees in the shade.
And so I was playing Lorcana in this like whole outfit, and when we got to lunch, I was like, I have an hour, I'm changing out of this. So if people don't recognize me, I'm sorry, I'm here, I'm just not Cinderella.
You're like, I'm not suffering. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so you just like added an extra layer of just like extreme to your Lorcana experience. You're like, okay, I'm gonna play Lorcana in this highly competitive environment. You know, you've got your snacks because it's Chicago, but you're also just like sweating profusely dressed like Cinderella. Yeah, you really it's like extreme Lorcana for you.
Yeah, I saw people, so at the second day of Chicago, I saw people like dressed up. I saw like there was Sisu and there was Aladdin, there was even I think Jafar was awesome. And I was like, okay, next DLC I want to do that.
Yeah.
So I did. Next time I know to be prepared for being warmer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean
don't wear a dress. Do a character who doesn't have a dress.
Okay, so wait, why was it just because of like the way that the chair, because you're having to stand up and sit down and like all of that?
Yeah, I had to stand up, I had to sit down. I also like it was one of those like tighter dresses as well.
Oh,
So it was just like
trying to just get comfortable was just like awful.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm not, yeah, you're like, how did all of these Disney princesses just like wear these dresses and move around and like function in an adventure? I never, yeah.
I don't think I could do it. I couldn't even run in a dress.
No, absolutely not. I'm sure there has to be a princess somewhere that like tears the dress, that like kind of trope where they like tear the bottom of the dress so they can get adventure ready. That's what we need in Lorcana. We need that cosplay.
Happens in Descendants, but I don't think it happens in like a actual Disney movie. Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Yeah. We just had Rapunzel braid up her hair a little bit better. That's really, I think, that's an unattainable goal, all those dresses and everything. Like, we need the princess in pants. Like Mulan?
Jasmine.
Jasmine did have pants. There we go.
Mulan when she was pretending to be a guy.
Yeah. So do you have an idea for your next cosplay, or is that
it was what I was playing. I was playing Seal Song at Vegas, so I did Cinderella. Okay. So it really will depend on what I'm playing, because I'll like to do a character from what I'm playing. So
you dress up like Bolt. I'm just kidding.
I could dress up as Bolt. I could just have like little ears.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could dress up as Penny. I could do that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because she has like shorter hair too. You just like bring a dog and be like, this is, or I guess you'd have to bring like a stuffy, but that's fine. Yeah. A whole animal with the DLC.
Yeah. Just be like, this is Bolt. There.
Yeah. I had a friend tell me that he went to a tournament and somebody brought a crow toy and it would caw during the match. And I was like, I would call a judge, because I would like, that sounds like a sensory nightmare. Like just having this little, because I guess they were playing Diablo. So it was just like, like that sounds illegal. But a Bolt toy would be much cuter, I think.
Yeah. So I've had a few interviews where I actually haven't known the person before. I didn't know Oliver and I didn't know Bradley before our interview. So I was really nervous because I'm like, what if I mess up? What if I do something like wrong with our interview or even our game?
Yeah.
So like I get really nervous before I interview someone. I have no clue who they are. Or even like, because I halfly knew of Bradley, and I kind of knew of Oliver, but I didn't like see them or like hear them or like.
Yeah. Like there wasn't that familiarity, like even a little bit. So yeah.
Yeah, like me and Logan met Chicago. It was very vague, but I remembered meeting him.
Yeah.
And then I've seen you on Lorcana Villains YouTube channel. And so like I kind of knew a little bit.
Yeah, like a little bit more comfortable. Right, yeah.
Yeah. Right. And so I tell myself, it'll all be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I always laugh because, I do spend, especially in this community, I talk to people and people come up to me and I'm excited to see people and this and the other thing. But like in my daily life, I am so bad at people that it is terrible. Like I cannot talk to people. If there's like more than one or two people in a circle of, I say weird things and silly things come out of my mouth and then I get distracted and see. So like I get so nervous in situations like this where, especially like, in this Disney space where I'm like, I don't want to say the wrong thing or, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to be like Disney appropriate, but also be myself, but also not mess up, but still sound smart sometimes. And that usually, all those things usually never happen all at the same time. So I totally get it.
Yeah, I was at Vegas. I had that was the first time that I met Dana and Riley in person.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us were really shy
Oh,
because we had never seen each other off of a screen, and it was weird for us. So we were all just kind of like
standing there, like, do you want to like maybe get like on
Like-
Discord and like just like actually FaceTime
like,
so this
nah,
feels normal?
like,
Yeah, right, yeah.
how do we like talk to each other? Because we were like so used to seeing each other on screen and not like in real person. It was weird.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird situation. I remember I think we were in Atlanta this weekend, and I remember we all went to get food, and I think it was like right after. So then it was like Zenulus, me, R&B, Humble, No I'm Not, and Sasuke. We were all sitting at the table, and we're all just kind of like vibing, you know, just like sitting there. And then I think we're like all on our phones. And like R&B, Ryan was like, "Wow, I'm so glad I flew all the way here to hang out with the people I love, so they can hang out on their phones." I'm like, "We're getting comfortable, okay? like we're trying to acclimate, God, like, you know." So yeah, it's definitely it's weird, but I think I love that about like the TCG space is everybody's awkward. Like you get every once in a while you get that like all-star that is just so good at talking to people and has like just like this really magnetic personality, and I think we all like love to huddle around them because they like can drive the conversation, but the most of us are awkward and say weird things, and there's so many of us that do that I think it creates a really cool community of like feeling comfortable being awkward and yourself, which is I think it's one of my favorite parts.
Yeah. So even outside of Lorcana, I'm socially awkward so much. I cannot just walk up to a person and say, "Hi, I'm Kyla. What's your name?" Like I can't do that. Like
It's I've done that so many times. Like oh god, another thing that's happened this weekend. I was I interact with Manthony a lot and like in Discord and everything, and like never actually met him in person, but I knew that he was going to be at CCS, and I was talking to somebody and I mentioned him, and then Humble mentioned that he had like Manthony had given him sleeves, and I was like, "Oh, well, like, can you point them out for me because I would love to meet him," you know? And he was actually playing a game with so the thing is I never got to meet him. However, the guy that I asked was like, "Oh, that's Manthony," and he was playing a game against Kurt Spice, and I was like, "Well, I've awkwardly met Kurt a couple times, so like I was like I walked up and you know they were like shuffling or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, are you Manthony?" And he looks at me and goes, "No," and I was like, "Okay, have a nice life," and I walked off. I was like, and the guy was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought that was him." I was like, "You lied to me," and I looked so silly. Like, you know, like it was the most. And that's the second time I've embarrassed myself in front of Kurt. So I'm so bad at talking to people, but I do appreciate you allowing me to talk so much tonight.
yeah, of course. It was so great having you on and talking. So thanks again for hopping on and coming and let me interview you.
Yeah, thanks for letting me ask you questions. It's been really cool. Like this was super, super fun.
So where can people find you on socials?
Right now I am I'm in Discord as Colorislaw, and then on Twitter or X I'm just Colorislaw1, just the number 1 after my name. And yeah, I'm usually talking entirely too much in those spaces, so come and follow me and we'll chat.
I pass the turn over to Color and she quested out and win. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. You can follow me at Enchanted Hunter on Blue Sky, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you want to listen to more of our conversation, there are some after the credits. And quest on! So, I saw that you were on Lorcana Villain, and you've been doing a few cooler things recently with those. So how was that?
It's been really nice actually. The Baker wanted to do a whole kind of like women in Lorcana podcast and everything like that. And he reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to come on, and I thought it was a really neat idea. I got to hang out with Rebecca, Allie, and Lizard Kitty, Melissa from TFN. So it was a good time.
Yeah, it looks really fun, just like with the other women and what you guys were talking about. It was awesome to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that was like our hope is other people and can kind of watch it and not feel as alone in the space if they are. I know I've heard like various different stories from people who, Lorcana is very welcoming and considering other TCGs and stuff. But just in case, just to make sure that everybody has a space here.
Yeah, definitely. Have you gotten to go into any of the DLCs?
I have actually. I was fortunate enough to go to I guess 3 of them last season. So Atlanta was my first one, and then I was in Vegas, and then I went to Seattle as well.
Oh, so how did you do?
um, in Atlanta, I did actually really well. I switched to green purple like probably a couple hours before the main event. I'm normally ruby amethyst back then, but I decided that with the prevalence of red blue and hoping to dodge amber steel, I wanted to play green purple and see how that went. I needed to win. I needed to 2-0 my last round to get in, and I did not. But and then Vegas, I was doing really well. Then I had kind of like a weird interaction that like has been I've since like talked about it and learned from it and grew from it, and it kind of like I let it ruin my day, you know. And that's the first time because I've never really competed in big tournaments like that other than like Atlanta and like locals and stuff. So he's like a less than fun person to play against, and I think I let it ruin my day, and get in my head.
Yeah.
And I didn't bounce back very well, so I did terrible in the main event in Vegas. But I got top 16 in the side event, so that was fun.
Yeah.
And
I mean, a side event, it's a side event. It's really cool to get top cut in anything, to be honest.
yeah, it was. I started it out like I got 0-2'd immediately. Like my first round, I ran into green yellow discard with Chernobog in it, like the big one, and I was just like, oh, okay, yeah. So immediately got 0-2'd the first round, and then everybody was like, just win, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I just decided to continue to win, and then I ended up making top 16. So I was like, okay, I am kind of good at this game, So
yeah.
and then in Seattle, I ran into Purple Steel Hyper Aggro my first 2 rounds. Immediately just got 2-0'd. And then and I was on Red Blue or Ruby Sapphire. And then I ran into Ruby Amethyst and then promptly got 2-0'd again. So that was the end of my Seattle run.
So, what are some of your goals for Lorcana?
Ooh, I feel like every other day my goal is like, oh, I'm gonna win a golden Mickey. Like that is my goal. And then I'll have other days where I'm like, I just want a day 2 a DLC. That'd be absolutely rad. And then other days I'm gonna go to Worlds. Like it depends. I don't know. It depends on the day. So I think it fluctuates between that. Like I definitely want to do well in this next DLC season. That's and I think day 2 is my soft goal, and then anything after that is going to be like a dream come true. But I think the reason it fluctuates so much is because I do really enjoy like this community. So like even just being able to go to a DLC and like hang out with all my friends and like watch them do well and you know just kind of like I get as much joy out of winning in this game as I do like supporting the people that I'm close to. So my goals are to be able to just do more of that this year as well. So
What is one card in set 7 that you want to see start creeping up into the meta?
oh gosh. I'm gonna be lame and probably pick one of the Baymax cards. I have seen that Emerald Baymax. I can't remember exactly what he does. I've seen him kind of like the low battery, like the Baymax low battery one. Card is adorable. That's like one of my favorite parts of the movie. If for some reason, again, some reason that card just like becomes good, that'd be rad. Or Donald, the big old, the big old dark magician, Kingdom Hearts Donald. I want that card to be good. He's so bad, but he's good.
Now, when I saw him, I was watching the live stream and I was like, they were like, this is gonna change the game, and I'm like, what is even more going to change the game than dual inks? And I was like, I don't want to see it. No.
I know. My favorite was Artabax's face. Like, you know, watching that live stream, it was just like we were all just like, "Oh my gosh, it's so cool!" But at the same time, it's so bad because, like, you know, it just gets like essentially dragon fired by a baby Sisu, and then you just they win the game. You know what I mean? Like, or like as soon as it, yeah. So you're like, oh, okay, well, that was fun for a second, but the Enchanted is beautiful. So
What we need is someone to play it in a Blurple deck and have Ward with Aurora.
okay, now you're cooking. Okay, you're cooking. I like
Alice. Or Alice.
Alice, the support Alice?
Yeah,
or two. No. Oh,
nope.
right. Yeah, the 3-drop, the one with Ward that gives Ward.
Yeah.
I'll get Harlan on that. I'll be like, hey, can we like you like Alice? Can we put this in here? Make us a Blurple deck with Alice.
It's possible. Anything is possible with Lorcana.
Can you imagine getting got by that? That would be so funny. Oh, they'd be like, okay, you know, I play Donald, quest with Alice, give Donald Ward, and it's just like, oh my goodness. The only thing is like you'd have to be able to win like in your next turn, you know, like them. Yeah. It could work. It could work.
What is your favorite card art?
Card art? Ooh. I don't know. I will say this game has some of the best art. Like, and I know it's Disney and it's like pretty biased of me to say that, but like because I just love Disney in general. But I will say they've kind of like knocked it out of the park with just like all the art in this game. Like I was even looking, there's like a little, like I was sorting through my cards not too long ago, and there was just like a Robin Hood that nobody uses. And I was like, this art is so good. And like for no reason. It's not even like a playable card, but the art is incredible.
Is it the Sapphire support one?
No, it's an Emerald one. Or maybe it's not even an like.
Is it the one on the rooftops?
Yes, that one.
Mm.
Yeah, that art is so pretty. I was just sorting through it and I like was throwing it in the bulk box. I'm like, this is beautiful for like no reason. I've never seen anybody play this card ever. Oh, I do like the I can't choose. I'm like looking at the enchanteds, just I'm like cheating really quick. I'm like, Some of these are ridiculously pretty. I remember seeing the Enchanted Alice for the very first time, and that art is incredible. It's so good. I don't know. That Alice is really good. Well, hopefully I get to see you at the next DLC, whenever
Yeah.
that will be.
Yeah, literally with everybody, we're like, okay, we're taking pictures this time.
Oh, yeah.
And we're like, I'm actually gonna meet people that I know, and it's not just like the people that I vaguely knew. Like I knew Liam, Rebecca, and Dana, and a few other people, and Knife. And
Yeah.
like that was everybody I knew. And so like now coming into a new DLC, I know a lot more people,
yeah.
so it'll be fun to like say hi and like tell people who I am.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely so. Like, I was at CCS a weekend. Was that last weekend? Everything feels like a fever dream. And there was like, people coming up and saying hi, this and the other thing. And I remember I was hanging out with because we stayed at Kendall's house and was hanging out with Sasuke most of the weekend. And it wasn't until like the third day that like I was like, oh, like he's like, oh, did you play on like Pixelborn like back in the day? I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm Colorislaw, and he's like, oh, you're Colorislaw. I'm like, oh, he's like, because I didn't know what he looked like, and he didn't know what I looked like, and I hadn't used my like online name yet, so I was like, oh, I kind of know you, but like now it's like I actually have faces to put with all of these names and everything, so I'm excited to kind of like be in the same room as everybody again. That'd be cool. But one day, when they announce it, it's going to happen and it's got to be super cool. Maybe they'll support more cosplay and have more events and like a bunch of. They're taking their time because I choose to believe it's going to be really rad when they finally do roll everything out.
Yeah. It has to be super cool, or we just kind of waited for a typical DLC.
Yeah. Atlanta, I was just kind of like, that was like the first DLC I wanted to go to. I saw that it was announced. I'm like, I'm totally going to this. And like by Vegas, I think I was staying with quite a few people. I think stayed with like Braden and Tomas, Great Stone Dragon, shout out. Yeah. Stayed with all of them. And then in Seattle, I actually stayed with Maelstrom. So kind of like each time I've gotten to like meet more people and yeah, it's been a cool journey. Cool. Yeah.
So during the game, you inked for quite a few turns, then you stopped for a few turns, then you inked again, and then you stopped, and then you inked again for your like daily.
Yeah.
So was that just like an uninkable problem, or was that more strategic?
So that was later on the game, right? At that point, I had a Hiram on board, and
I think that was right after the beat prep.
Right after the beat prep. So what I had in my hand, I wanted to keep every single one of those, and I'm pretty sure once I established coil, I don't ink for fun anymore. My in the matchup that you and I have so against like the Amber Steel, and I could see that you were trying to be a little bit more aggressive, especially with the shift line and the bolt and everything else like that. Once I realize I'm in that kind of matchup, I don't need as much ink. And my deck is going to be able to function and run off of really about like 8 to 9, because then like 9, if I really wanted to, I could play Sisu and then next turn cast a dime, pay 2, exert the dime, quest for like 6 in a turn. So as far as like getting up to like 17 ink, it's just not necessary. Also, too, again, like with coil now, you don't really want to ink for fun, because any time that I ink, that is a potential way for me to remove anything off of your board. So I think at that point I had like 2 big Tamatoas. I had like another Hiram. I had I don't even know what I had, but everything I kind of just wanted all of that. I did have a dime in hand, and then I had the Tamatoa 6. So I was kind of sitting in a realm where I had a bunch of win cons in my hand that I didn't necessarily want to ink, and I also didn't have a ton of removal in hand either. So me, like, I wanted to make sure that I got to enough ink to where if I did, I could play Tamatoa, get back a popsicle, play it in the same turn, or play a dime and tap it. But I also didn't want just an ink unnecessarily. But that's when, like I got to the point where I was like, okay, I drew a Tipo and I also drew like a brawl, I think, off of the Hiram. So I was like, oh, okay, sick. I'll ink the Tipo, sugar brawl. But yeah, so definitely in this set 7 kind of thing, you don't ink for fun anymore. It's a very specific decision to be made, because if you especially with this deck, you can ink something at the very beginning of the game that will lose you the game 6 turns later. So you have to be very cautious. Now, the beginning of that game, I was bricked out of my mind. I kept a Hiram, a baby Sisu, and a coil, which was a terrible plan. I should have never kept that. And then I drew into 3 baby Sisus and a big Sisu. And then my next 2 draws were how far I'll go. So it was pain.
Yeah. So I actually made a mistake in our game. Starting hand, I had a Calhoun.
Mm-hmm.
But I usually put the card that I'm going to play in front of all the cards. So I'll put my ink. I'll put the card that I'm about to play in front.
Mm-hmm.
But Bolt was in front. So my brain just automatically played Bolt.
Oh.
And then turn 3, I was like, that's supposed to be Calhoun.
And I remember you hesitated, and I was like, oh no. I was like, does she know that this is about to get eaten by a baby Sisu? Or like, where are we at,
Yeah.
But yeah. And that's like Calhoun is like objectively, yeah, the correct answer, because like on the draw, Calhoun is amazing. And then it's like my Tipo doesn't sit there and do his little thing over and over again. I noticed that you hesitated, and I was like, oh, does she just not want to put the bull? And it's because I've done that too. A lot of times too, like I've been told, especially like I get really nervous when I play, and I get like kind of super sporadic, and it's actually like Zenulus has told me a million times, like, just first of all breathe, and I'm always like, you breathe, like, nah, you know what I mean, like, like, but like just like taking a breath, and then also like announcing the card as you play it, because sometimes you're like, okay, I'm gonna ink this Tipo and I'm gonna play, I hear him, and then you look down and you have a Mao in your hand, and you're like, that was the wrong card. And it's because you're sitting there like flicking cards or whatever. So yeah, it's definitely like announcing your cards and breathing is apparently really important. It's something that's helped me.
So